what I see right now in the Christian space is just a lot of interdenominational fighting and just kind of like taking shots at each other. Theological debates, the Catholic versus Protestant crossover is just like a popular topic. But what do you see as like the future of Christian YouTube, Catholic YouTube?
That's hard to prognosticate. It's interesting to see how it's changed. Like I started my YouTube experience 6 years ago. COVID had just happened. Or I was in California when it happened. And I remember telling my wife, I'm like, this couldn't go on for that long. And then we moved because we realized it is going on for that long. And the cops got called on me for taking my kid to a park. And I was like, all right, I've had enough of this. But I just did some response videos. I replied to some videos Mike Winger had made about Catholicism like years ago. And no Catholic had really made a response to that. So I thought, oh, I'll do some of that. And I had been doing Council of Trent audio podcasts for about 2 years. And I thought, hey, I might put some of this on YouTube. And slowly started to put that out there. But 6 years ago, it was a much more barren space. It's kind of like I grew up in a sleepy seaside town in San Diego called Encinitas, California. It's just like 25 minutes, 30 minutes north of San Diego. I grew up there in the
I lived in Oceanside.
You did?
I was right next to you. Yes.
Okay, so you'll be able to relate to this then.
Yep.
So
La Jolla.
So did you grow up there like kind of like late 80s, 90s?
I just moved there. I didn't grow up there. If I said I grew up there, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard you.
For Oceanside.
Okay. So the thing is, I grew up there. Like I have memories of what that town was like in the early 90s. Very sleepy seaside town. Same for Oceanside. Now you go there, it's like bustling, very touristy, and lots of people could relate to a sleepy town just becoming crazy, bustling, like, wow, I can barely recognize this. And I think Christian YouTube is sort of like that like 6 years ago, 10 years ago, it was like, yeah, you had a few creators, but like not that many. You had like, if you wanted to be like successful, you had to have like a major studio and tons of operations. And, you know, there were those things that were out there. But now like, there's like a gazillion, for me, in my experience, it's like I can't keep track of the number of Catholic creators that are out there. Just like, hey, and they have great setups and they're putting stuff out there. And I love it, more the merrier. I just want to make sure they don't feel like that they want to get into competition for views. I want them just to build up the body of Christ, each in their own unique way. So when it comes to Christian YouTube, I want that. I think interaction about theological disputes, that is a good thing, but it shouldn't be a war. Like we can have disagreements. We can have, you know, even bouts, not fights, but like in martial arts, we call them bouts. In jiu-jitsu, we call them rolls. And it's like, have a roll. We'll roll about this. I actually, here in Dallas, there's a Church of Christ minister who I've been on his channel in between Sundays. People can go and check it out. And we theologically disagree, and we go to the mat and we physically roll it out. Super fun. But it's like, when you do it, in both instances, we're not trying to kill each other. Like it's all good natured. But I worry about in the Christian YouTube space, it's like, no, you're a heretic. You're an idiot. Here's why you're wrong. Laser eyes. Just like, come on, man. So that's why, like, what I've tried to do, like, if I reply to somebody now, in order to make sure I understand their position, I'll write a reply for my channel, and then I'll send them the reply first. And I'll say, hey, did I at least understand everything that you said? Or did I misunderstand something? That way, and I wish I'd done that a long time ago, but I've started doing it now for a few months. And it's like, it's been night and day. It's made it so much more enjoyable to interact with other people's content. And I just recommend everybody give it a try. Right now, I don't really see Catholic or Protestant, a lot of other people, anybody else doing that. But I'd love for other people to do that.
Yeah, no, I love that sentiment. And I see that as we're recording this, I just watched a video of John Christ and Matt Fradd going to the Catholic Church. And it was so entertaining and so fun, but it had a lot of heart to it, had a lot of like understanding of trying to bridge that gap. And I think that's just like a way more commendable way to approach this topic, because what we're doing, honestly, is like we're like confusing the world more than anything. We're confusing ourselves, and people are just like, what would you say? Theologically paralyzed because they don't know if the one true church is really the thing, and they have to know what they believe about everything, and they're constantly confused. But more than anything is non-believers are super confused why we are constantly attacking one another. And if they wanted to get involved, they feel like they're embarking on this huge journey of picking the right church, of all these people fighting one another. They get into Christian YouTube and they're even more confused. But it's like, if I were to watch like a video of Matt Fradd and John Christ, I'd be like, oh, like they like at least love each other, and I can feel that presence of respect. And it's like, I hope that is the approach going forward. And I feel like it's simmering down, and I feel like guys like you and Gavin are coming at it differently, and that's setting the pace for us young guys, I think.
What's interesting, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say, what's weird is the divide I'm kind of seeing online. It's not so much like Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox. The divide I'm kind of seeing now, where people are, you kind of are going to have to take sides, is how do you want to engage those who disagree with you? Do you want to be kind, or do you want to be harsh? And that, so I see like there will be Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox in the scorched earth, harsh camp, and Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox in the kind and charitable camp. So that's kind of where I'm seeing the divide in the Christian YouTube world, where what's interesting is like I could have a sit down with Gavin, despite we have immense theological disagreements, but there are people where I theologically disagree with them maybe on like 1% of things, and I could never have a productive conversation with them because they don't have the temperament for it. That's what I kind of see.
And I get that. I want to do a part 2 with you on this, because there's like, I didn't even get to like half my things, but one of those being feminism and that conversation I think you had with Ian. Maybe this is one of the conversations you're talking about, but that was like hostile almost. I don't know this creator. I don't know what's going on with him. And so maybe that's just like his style. But the feminism conversation and like the conversation around young men, I think it's affecting both sides equally. And it's like weird to see that even in both camps, like we're kind of getting the same conclusion on that. But maybe I would love to do a part 2. This is,
we could do a whole part 2. But my brief thoughts on that is I do not like the term feminist. I do not describe myself as a feminist. Some people claim that I do. I do not describe myself as a feminist. I find the term to be toxic. And I don't think we need the term. Like, there's no term to describe people who think black people and white people should have the same basic rights. There's no term for that. But clearly, I think black people and white people should have the same basic rights. And you should, and black people have been historically the victims of evil and racism. And it's bad they were subjected to that and should not be subjected to that. And I don't need a term to describe that I feel that way. And I would just say the same thing about women, that like men and women should have the same basic rights. And women have been subjected to like bad things in history, and they shouldn't be. Like in the past, like lobotomies were disproportionately performed on women because, oh, this lady's hysterical, better scoop out part of her brain because she's clearly a hysterical broad, or shut her up in her room, and don't let her leave, or like, all of, there have been things to say like, or, hey, you can, in the 19th century, like you could beat your wife as long as you didn't leave a permanent mark on her, so it's like, no, I don't. I think you shouldn't be beating wives, even if, well, I didn't leave a permanent mark. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Oh, Trent's such a feminist. He's such a whipped feminist. No, I think if you think it's okay to hit women, maybe you're the one who has massive insecurity issues. Like, do you think you have to hit women because you're scared that they might hurt you? Not scared of any of that. I think it would be funny if a lady started to like, oh, okay, let's just calm down now. I don't have to hit you or anything. But that's the thing. That should really be uncontroversial. But you have people who will. I think the red pill manosphere, like anti-feminist crowd, and I agree. Feminism is basically, most modern feminism is evil. Abortion, contraception, gender dysphoria. It's and man hatred. Legit man hatred in a lot of it, no doubt. But I find that those who are anti-feminists are often photo negatives of that. Like in the 90s, you had raunch third wave feminism that would say, you don't need men. Women are awesome. Men are the root of all the problems in the world. And don't get married to a man because he's just going to leave you for a hot younger woman, stick you with the kids, and you're going to be miserable. You don't need a man to be happy. And so those women who bought that in the 90s and 2000s, now in the 2020s, they're like 50-year-old cat ladies who are totally insufferable. And it's like, I feel bad, but I feel like the guys now, like a lot of the red pill guys on the other side, they're the photo negative of that. They say, hey, look, women are basically the reason things are bad in the world today. They're insufferable. You're better off without them. Just use them and leave them, or avoid, red pill, use them and abuse them, or black pill, avoid them entirely. You don't need a woman to be happy in life. Men go their own way, da, 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 da. It's like the same thing in the other direction. And I think in 20 years, they're going to be really insufferable guys either living by themselves, tearing down men who are happy in their marriages, or they're going to give in and they're going to marry the one woman willing to marry them, who will probably be a divorced woman with her own baggage, and their criticisms of women will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's my spiel there on